Hello friends and family, I am here to tell you about 50 to 55 new releases for Q3 of 2026. And because it's 50 to 55 books, we have to go kind of quickly. I'm not going to give the full synopsis for this shit. We're going to try to just get the main vague ideas of what these books are about. I just want to put them on your radar and make sure they're locked in on my radar also. Also, if you didn't see my last video, I crushed all of the arteries in my wrist and forearm. So I have this wrist brace on for a little bit. I was supposed to be able to take it off last week, but it doesn't really feel quite right yet. So I'm wearing it while I work and while I sleep at the very least. So just ignore this as we're going. So we're going over books that are coming out in July, August, and then September, Q3 of this year. First, we have a few books coming out on July 7th. The first book is called Habits of the Sea by Shay Earnshaw, which is a little bit fantasy, a little bit magical realism, and a little bit mystery. It says the night Clay Lockhart's wife dies, a violent storm tears their home away from the Scottish coast, sending it adrift into the Atlantic. 30 years later, 12-year-old Ellie Mills discovers the fabled floating island off the coast of Nova Scotia and finds Clay still living in the farmhouse perched on its highest hill. When the island vanishes overnight, Ellie is left questioning whether it ever existed at all, but decades later, now in her 30s, the island resurfaces and Ellie returns determined to uncover the truth. What she finds is even Clay hasn't aged a single day. Someone called it a haunting, romantic journey through time, and I am here to eat it up. Shay Earnshaw, the author, is also the one who wrote... What have I read by you? Winterwood. Did I enjoy Winterwood? Your guess is as good as mine. I think I read it like a decade ago. This book also has an insanely beautiful cover, and I love the font choices and the colors. I just love everything that's being done with this cover. So I hope that I like it so I can keep it, so I can get a piece of that. Also coming out on July 7th is a novella called We Were Forbidden by Jacqueline Hartman. And if you think that that name sounds familiar, it's because she wrote I Who Have Never Known Men. She has since passed away, but this is a collection of short stories, a startling new collection of 3 never-before translated stories, each plumbing the depths of that most necessary human defiance. So it's 3 short stories inside this novella. They're a little science fiction-y. One is about wandering the forest in the wake of some unfathomable war. A woman and her fellow survivors are forbidden from leaving its boundaries or pausing in their march through its strange depths. They can't pause in their... So it's like the long walk through a forest that keeps you inside of it. It's The Long Walk meets Butcher the Forest by Primi Muhammad. It doesn't say that. That's just what I'm making up in my head from what I just read. Don't listen to me. Each of the 3 short stories is about a different woman, and it says in varying ways and across varying worlds, each of these women are trapped. Do they have the will to escape? I'm down. I just read I Who Have Never Known Men a few weeks ago, and I cannot believe the perfect timing that I read it right before this comes out. But I'm excited. I'm ready. I will be purchasing this book. What the f was that? Luna! Oh, hi. Luna! Hi! Where are you? Luna! Wow! Where are you? Oh, hi! Wow, Luna never wants... Okay, sorry. To what do we owe the... Nope, okay. Goodbye. Luna the past few weeks has taken to just sitting and screaming at me even when she doesn't need or want anything. She just likes to sit and scream. And she's almost 14, so I'm assuming this is just what cats go through when they turn 14. On July 14th, we have a book called Cross My Heart, I Hope You Die by Mallory Arnold. This is a horror thriller mystery. It doesn't look like exactly my usual cup of tea, but I was sent it as an ARC, so I am gonna read it. But it basically sounds like John Tucker Must Die, but with murder. Like John Tucker must actually die. When Nora, Ruby, and Cham discover that they've been dating the same man, what starts as outrage quickly spirals into a plot for revenge. Together they hatch a plan to lure their boyfriend to a romantic getaway in a secluded cabin at the top of a snow-covered mountain. Only what was meant to be harmless payback soon takes a chilling turn when their not-so-adoring boyfriend is found dead in the cabin. And then they're stranded and they're snowed in. So John Tucker must die with actual must die energy. There might be something else lurking in the freezing wilderness waiting to pick them off one by one. Are we gonna like this? Am I gonna like that? This feels like it's gonna have some humor going on, a la John Tucker Must Die, and I'm not usually one for humor in books. I'll cross my fingers for Cross My Heart. Next on July 14th is The Eye of Leviathan by M.A. Carrick. I have just found out that M.A. Carrick is the joint pen name of Marie Brennan and Alec Helms, the two of whom met in 2000 on an archaeological dig in Wales and Ireland, and have built their friendship through 2 decades of anthropology, writing, and gaming. That's so sick. They met on an archaeological dig in Ireland? That's insane. Anyway, The Eye of Leviathan. In an alternate Spanish Golden Age, the Council of the Sea Beyond has risen to unrivaled power, exploiting the otherworld's most precious resources for their own gain. Estevan seeks to uncover their secrets, but he risks the exposure that he is a fairy masquerading as a mortal. The Hungry Girl is the human whose... It's me. I'm the Hungry Girl. The Hungry Girl is the human whose place he took. Lost among the... Okay, changeling. We have a changeling situation. Lost among the Fae and desperate to find some purpose for existence, she leaps at the chance to help a group of Spanish explorers in the sea beyond, only to be horrified at the atrocities they commit. A fairy pact has separated them, but only together can they bring down Spain's world-spanning empire and save the homes they have both come to love. So changeling situation, rallying together against colonizers. Also on July 14th, we have Misery's Wife by Joan Tierney. This feels like a fever dream kind of book, so I'm all in already. It's a reimagining of a Portuguese folktale. Elizane lives in a village ravaged by waves, storms, and the encroaching forest. When she was too young to remember, her elder sisters each picked a flower and were whisked away. Borboleta. Okay. Her sister Borboleta was taken away to marry the king of the air, Adelina to marry the king of the sea, and her favorite sister Doris to marry the king of misery, who promised, "No one will ever love you as I will." So when Elizane receives a mysterious message from a toad, she sets out to rescue Doris from the kingdom of misery. She's aided by Luck and his sister Jinx, the contrary and beautiful Marquez and Marquesas of misfortune. God, that was a mouthful. On the way, she'll have to reunite with her sisters and their magical husbands, break several unbreakable curses, and perhaps find a magical love of her own. And it does in fact say, this is gay. So happy Pride to everyone watching and everyone involved. Gay rep, Misery's Wife. Gay Misery? Oh wait, no. Misery is the man married to a woman. It's straight misery. Gay woman saving her sister from straight misery. Also on July 14th, we have The Sea Hides Its Dead by Megan Bontrager. Funny enough, in August, there's a book coming out that I'm going to talk about called And the Sea Gave Up the Dead. So The Sea Hides Its Dead, The Sea Gave Up the Dead. It means nothing. They're not connected at all. I just thought it was funny. The Sea Hides Its Dead is exactly what I have been looking for lately, I believe. It says The Descent meets The Ritual, 2 great horror movies. The Descent meets The Ritual, an occult aquatic horror about a group of academics trapped in a sea cave who must reckon with eldritch horrors as they are forced to atone for their greatest sins. Abso-fucking-lutely. Atoning for your greatest sins. I'm also sensing a little bit of as above, so below. Caro has no idea what she wants to do with her life, but when an opportunity arises to act as a research assistant on an anthropological expedition for her professor and lover, Edward Beck, she doesn't hesitate. Oh no. I think Edward Beck is probably going to die in this book. Beck assembles a team of academics and professionals to study the ancient sea-based cult of the Leviathan, and the expedition descends into the sea caves where the cult are said to have dwelt. Listen, I like adrenaline. I like skydiving. I like jet skis. I like paintball. I like the things that make me feel like maybe I'm gonna die, but probably not. You will never fucking catch me in a sea cave. Never in a million years will you catch me in a sea cave. A regular cave? Yes. Would I go into the catacombs under Paris and look at all the skeletons down there? Yes. Have I done that before? Maybe. But what I will not be doing is scuba diving to an underwater fucking sea cave. I will not be underwater ocean spelunking. Absolutely the fuck not. Love media about it though. I love content related to it, but no. Because when the cave entrance collapses, trapping them inside, the expedition will find they are not alone in the darkness. Surrounded by strange artifacts and scattered bones, an ancient trial has been set in motion. One by one, the members of the expedition will be tested and forced to atone for their greatest sin or die. Absolutely. This is what I want to read, and I want to read it immediately. Thank you, Megan Bontrager. Bontrager? 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 What, how? whatever this name is. Thank you. On July 21st, we have a book called Carry Me to My Grave by Christopher Golden. I have an ARC by Christopher Golden. I think it's called The Nightbirds, and I haven't read it yet, and I'm late on that. I'm so sorry to NetGalley. I apologize. But Christopher Golden's new book, Carry Me to My Grave, is a high-concept horror novel about a man trying to protect his dead mother's body from the evil that is hunting them. Maggie Wise will take your eyes. When Malcolm was growing up, the local kids made up that chant about his mother claiming she was a witch. He and his siblings did their best to ignore it. Now Maggie is dying and those same siblings have left Malcolm and his sister-in-law Violet to hold a vigil at her bedside. But they're not as alone as they think they are. A dark figure waits and watches from beneath the willow tree across the oh no, willow tree. I just saw Obsession last night. A willow tree makes me nervous. Anyway, a dark figure waits underneath the willow tree. Hundreds of miles away, an ancient evil stirs in its burrow under a cornfield. Fuck a cornfield. I haven't even seen, Children of the Corn? I haven't even seen Children of the Corn, but I know f a cornfield. I've seen some weird shit in cornfields at 4 a.m. on like cross-country drives. Weird shit. Weird vibes. Anyway, this old woman on her deathbed makes Malcolm promise that he will return her body to her birthplace in Maine. And there are forces trying to stop Malcolm from fulfilling that promise. Violence erupts on the train, evil preys on its passengers, and once the sun goes down, those long-buried things are coming to make Maggie Wise pay for her past. God help anyone who stands in their way. Sick. The cover is smoke coming out of a train. So I imagine this is just gonna be like one kind of insular location. Are we on a train for the whole time? That's sick. July 21st, we also have A Fate Worse Than Drowning by Sarah L. Hawthorne. A year ago, Elle made a deal with the devil to save her sister, and now they live on a desolate spit of land beyond Halifax's harbor. Elle as lighthouse keeper, hell yeah, lighthouse keeper. Elle as a lighthouse keeper steers unsuspecting sailors to their destruction. Those are the terms of her bargain. Oh, lighthouse keeper Faustian bargains. Yes, her sister's safety is worth every drop of blood, but a sinner's pact is not so simple. When the devil returns demanding more shipwrecks, no survivors, Elle knows what she must do to keep her sister safe. Then a woman washes ashore. A woman? Gay? Then a woman washes ashore. Is she a soul to be sacrificed or part of a darker design? As Elle's sister and the stranger grow closer, Elle faces an impossible choice. Kill and break Linny's heart or forfeit her own soul. Danger arises from all sides, the merciless sea, ruthless men on the mainland, and the infernal bargain itself. Lighthouse Keeper makes a deal with the devil and has to figure out if she breaks her gay sister's heart to keep that bargain. Sick. I will be purchasing. I will be reading. I don't care that it already has a 3.69 rating on Goodreads. I'm not paying attention. The next book, which also comes out on July 21st, is perhaps the book that I'm most excited for in this entire video. This is The Silence at Ashborough by Bo Posk or Bo Posk. Bo, I'm sorry. Let me know how you pronounce your last name and I'll get it right next time. Actually, let's see. Okay. P-O-S-K-E. English or Germanic pronunciation, typically pronounced as Oh, Pask. Rhymes with Basque? Pask? If the name has Slavic or Polish roots, it's generally pronounced as Poske, rhymes with Rose, or Pashka. I'm going to pretend right now that Bo's name is pronounced Bo Posk, okay? Anyone can let me know if I'm wrong. Anyway, The Silence at Ashborough by Bo Posk. If there is even one single thing that you know about me, it's probably that I am animal-based to my core. I'm an animal obsessive. All I care about is creatures and wildlife and wild spaces. I don't care about anything else, just the creatures. And this book is a horror book set at a zoo. And when I first saw this book being posted about on Instagram, I lost my shit for a second because it's so perfectly made for me. And let me tell you what it is first about. What happens when the safest place you can think of becomes a cage? At its core, it's a story about escape. Escape from abuse, from fear, from a life where silence has become survival, and what happens when that escape collapses in the worst possible way. When systems fail, when protocols collapse, when barriers meant to protect people no longer hold, the zoo transforms from a place of wonder into a labyrinth of panic. Predators are no longer confined, escape routes disappear, Communication breaks down, and the most dangerous thing becomes silence, the kind that comes before something lunges, the kind that tells you help isn't coming. As chaos erupts, Dana and her friends are forced into fights they never wanted but can no longer avoid. Protecting each other is no longer about leaving quietly, it's about survival. Every decision carries weight, every wrong turn costs lives, and every moment tests how far a mother will go when there is no safe place left to hide. Because something is causing this and they don't understand it. Tonally, this book lives in the space between Jurassic Park and Fantastic Land. Fuck me up. How could I ask for anything better than that? Fantastic Land meets Jurassic Park? Are you fucking kidding me? The book was written for me, I promise you. What if I just do a single book vlog? I've never done that before. What if I do a vlog where I only read one single book, but I read the whole thing while I'm at the zoo? How about that? And every time it talks about a different kind of animal, I have to go and I have to read at that. No, that would be fun for me, but probably not fun for you guys. Anyways, that's The Silence at Ashbrow. I'm so f***ing excited. Also, July 21st is The Winterfolk by Jen Julian. Every year, the Winterfolk gather at a secret lodge in the Appalachians, a place known as Deer Haven, refuge for the time-worn and weary. As a child, Moth heard warnings. They are heartless, wild creatures, and they got no concern of us. At 21, Moth is a college dropout, indebted, impoverished, and desperate for better things. She falls instantly for Deer Haven's beautiful antlered host, the mild-mannered Mr. Oslin. Sounds a little Mr. Tumnessy. When he offers her a housekeeper's contract, one wish granted for a winter of service, she signs without question. But Deer Haven is a dangerous place, staff must follow strict rules or else face dire consequences, and the guests can be unpredictable and savage. Decades later, Moth returns to Appalachia with her husband and teenage daughter. She can't shake the feeling that she needs to return to Deer Haven, which banished her 20 years ago. As she hunts for a way in, her haunting memories and harrowing experiences come roaring back. A door exists in the dark of the woods. After so long away, what has Deer Haven become? Yes. Immediately, yes. Absolutely. Give it to me. If you are a person who actually watched my David Attenborough vlog, listen up. This one's for you. Lost in Curiosity, Field Notes from Scientists' Adventures into the Unknown by Roberta Kwok. This is one of the most exciting books for me out of this whole video. The real story of science isn't a triumphant breakthrough. It's messy, mysterious, and deeply human. In Lost in Curiosity, award-winning journalist Roberta Kwok pulls back the curtain on what scientific discovery actually looks like. Not a eureka moment, but a fraught, often chaotic pursuit of truth. Chronicling researchers' struggles and hopes in the field and lab, Kwok documents it all. Fending off relentless snowfall on a remote Greenland glacier, desperately searching for an elusive frog in the rainforests of Borneo, and scrambling to capture fleeting signals of a faraway moon outside of our solar system. These are the untold stories of devoted young scientists and restless minds who are chasing nature's riddles without knowing what they'll uncover. This is also a book that has been made specifically for me. So I know that this will not be for everyone. Not everyone's into nonfiction. Not everyone's into the earth sciences, nature, wildlife conservation, science. I don't understand you if you're not into those things, but you know, to each their own. If you are into it and this sounds good to you and you want to read it with me, let me know. Maybe this is one that we can all read together somehow soon. On July 24th, we have a book called Jellyfish Bloom by J.J. Walker. This is a novella, 111 pages. I love a novella. Let's fucking go. There's been a disappearance in Shiver. A woman is missing and all Anya Durand can think about is whether her husband Theo had something to do with it. As she struggles to put together the pieces of a night when he slipped out and returned smelling like salt and seaweed, more uncertainty broods. She hears a leak behind the wall, water in the attic, starts seeing things so strange it makes her wonder not just whether Theo is guilty, but why it feels like the ocean is haunting their house. Jellyfish Bloom is a horror novella about a relationship unraveling, an oceanic terror about what lurks in the waters around a quiet seaside town, and the lengths people will go for love. Let's fucking go. Quiet seaside towns, creepy ocean shit, horror novella. Let's go. One of 3 coming out on July 28th is called The Demon Star by Jesse Aragon. And this one is another arc that I haven't read yet. I will get to it soon though. Sick cover. It's giving me a little bit, what is that? A little bit Star Wars vibe, a little bit Lord of the Rings? A little Star Wars, Lord of the Rings in the desert, Dune, maybe? Gods rule this planet, demons stalk its canyons while kings beg for mercy. Can 3 mere humans rewrite its destiny? The other otherworldly religious conflict of Dune, exactly, the cosmic strangeness of Gideon the Ninth, which I have not read yet, and the heart-pounding action of Red Rising. These feel like keywords that might not be I mean, when publishing companies are writing blurbs, they want to capture your attention by having all these comparisons. If this is actually comparable to Dune, Gideon the Ninth, and Red Rising, that's incredible. I guess we'll see once we read it. Anyway, horror-tinged epic science fantasy debut. Sick. Okay. Ysera Noctis was a human sacrifice marked for death. Unlike the thousands harvested each year, though, she did the unthinkable. She survived, and what she brought back with her could change the fate of worlds. When Ysera's estranged son is chosen to become the vessel of a god-killing demon, she is faced with a choice. Allow him to harness cosmic power at an unspeakable cost. That's Dune. That's some Dune shit. Or doom millions of people in order to save him. She finds an unlikely ally in brother Jason Karras, that's a fucking Game of Thrones ass name. Once a gifted exorcist, now a guilt-ridden addict desperate for purpose. From a demon-haunted canyon to a starbound satellite, they must battle their way through cultists, aliens, and the gods themselves. The truths they unearth are deeper and more sinister than anything they could have imagined. You know what? Hell yeah. How many pages are you? No, I hate when Goodreads does that. Have you noticed that all of these books on Goodreads either say 400 pages exactly or like 282 exactly? There's like a few different numbers that show up on every one of these books, and that's not actually how long the books are. I want to know how long it is specifically. I don't want to hear 400 when it's actually, 435. Is that just me? Am I the only one who cares about that? I'm sorry for that rant. No, I'm not. We also have The Night Hunter by Natalie Moss, another arc that I own, a physical one this time. And spoiler alert, I will be reading this fairly soon, actually. This is the first ever arc that I'm going to be reading for a video. I wonder if you can guess what the theme of that video is going to be after the synopsis I tell you. When their conservationist mother passes, Danielle and her sister Grace reunite to return to their isolated family house nestled within a wild game reserve in Africa. While Grace clings to nostalgia as their mother's favorite, only Danielle carries the weight of their enigmatic mother's final words. Find the storehouse, burn everything inside. What begins as a reluctant homecoming disguised as a safari adventure turns into a nightmare when a murder rocks their first morning in the bush. In the chaos that follows, they crash their vehicle, stranding them with no way to call for help. Now Danielle must lead them on foot across miles of merciless savannah with dwindling supplies and only one rifle. As the group navigates land where every rustle could mean death, a truth someone is What? A truth someone is Publishing houses, get your shit together, get your sentences right. That's not a real sentence. You're missing a word or four there. As the group navigates land where every rustle could mean death, the truth is that someone is sabotaging their escape. Maybe that's what it's supposed to say. Anyway, two sisters who are on a safari in the African savannah and wind up in a murder mystery. Let me know if you can guess the theme of the vlog that's gonna be in. Last but not least, for books coming out in July, we have A Penance for Crows by Shannon Morgan. Look at that cover. I love the contrasting colors. Off the southern tip of the Beara Peninsula, Ireland, baby. One in Africa, we're hitting all my favorite places. Off the southern tip of the Beara Peninsula. I was there, by the way. I was in the Beara Peninsula in March. Off the southern tip of the Beara Peninsula lies Bina Dove, an island of savage beauty, its jagged cliffs lashed by Atlantic winds and infested by thousands of crows. Untouched by 21st century advances, the islanders live under the strict rule of the church while clinging to old superstitions of the crows as harbingers of disaster. To this desolate, unforgiving place, Grisella Urquhart. Urquhart. Hold on, I know I'm not pronouncing that right either because I was at Urquhart Castle in March also. What the f***? How do I pronunciate? How do I pronunciate you? How do I pronounce Urquhart? Hold on.
We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this ruined castle in the UK. It's located in Scotland, so in English, it's generally said as Urquhart. But locally in Scotland, in Scottish, it is said rather as Urquhart. Okay, Urquhart. So different.
Urquhart. Well, wasn't that enlightening? I was in the Beara Peninsula in Ireland, and I was also at Castle Oh, I already forgot. Castle Urquhart. I was in both of those places. I think that's a sign that I need to get this book. Anyway, to this desolate, unforgiving place, Grisilla Urquhart fled, seeking sanctuary from brutal bullying in her native Glasgow. 40 years on, Grisella still remains an outsider, the eccentric painter viewed with distrust and barely tolerated. The feelings are mutual, for she has discovered there are as many secrets on being a dove as there are crows. When she stumbles upon the body of a young priest with a diabolical symbol drawn on his chest, the crows darken the skies and Grisella is plagued by demonic whispers only she can hear. The islander's suspicions fall on her, but she fears the answers lie in her tortured past. As mass hysteria grows, Grisella scrambles to protect the innocent. A quartet of young girls she has taken under her wing. When she uncovers dark truths behind the girls' mysterious midnight gatherings, her grip on reality unravels and she is faced with an impossible... Again, publishers not editing. You guys are writing books. You guys are publishing books. At the very least, you should have an editor look over your blurbs on Goodreads for us to want to buy the books. She is faced with an impossible choice, decision, something like that. Do the unthinkable to protect the girls as the whispers urge, or come out of hiding to face the sins of her past. I got so distracted by so many things during that, but I'm pretty sure what I just said is there's a woman who runs away to a crow-infested island off of Ireland. And that's actually all that I need to know that I'm going to buy and read this book. Okay, we are only 1/3 of the way through the books I'm going to talk to you about, and I think that I've already been filming for an hour and a half. That does not bode well for editing with this bitch on. But let's keep going. Let's get into August. I'm also bribing myself. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and it's 10 p.m. So as soon as I finish filming all of this, I'm gonna make mac and cheese. Like classic shitty boxed mac and cheese. And you know what? I deserve it. So let's get through the last 2 months so I can have my mac and cheese. On August 4th is a book called Etna by Paul Yoon, which is absolutely going to make me cry. This is a literary fiction book following a dog. Why would I read this? Why would I do this to myself? Not a clue, but I'm gonna do it. Set in a fictional country in the present day, this is a story told through the eyes of an ex-military dog, Etna. After surviving years of a devastating war, Etna decides one night to leave the men he has fought alongside for years and return home, to the place where he was taken from when he was young, in the thin but persistent hope that if a home exists for him, it might be there. Thus begins an exhilarating odyssey told through the eyes of a dog as he traverses across ruined landscapes and fights to survive in a world that, even in peacetime, proves to be just as precarious. Along the way, he encounters other animals and humans who are attempting to figure out how to start again. What makes a life when there is no home to go back to? How do we begin to trust each other again after such a profound loss? Why does that give me a little bit of I Who Have Never Known Men vibes? Is that just me? Am I making that up? I will be reading that, and I will be crying. Another literary fiction coming out on August 4th. This is called The Wild Beneath by Kelly Anderson. It says for fans of Wild Dark Shore and The Time Traveler's Wife. I am a fan of The Time Traveler's Wife. I will be a fan of Wild Dark Shore by this time next week when I will have read the entire thing, probably. Annie McLeod always knew she was different. Growing up on a sailboat in the Pacific Northwest, navigating by stars and swimming with sea creatures alongside her parents and best friend Evan. Dream childhood. But when a tsunami shatters her world, Annie is stranded on land and forced to confront how eccentric she is. In the wreckage, she rescues a wordless man named Walker, who emits a hum only she can hear? Who emits a hum only she can hear? Is he emitting a hum like a whale? Or is he emitting a hum like fluorescent, like how people who are neurodivergent sometimes can hear fluorescence? Is that it? Is he a whale and she's on some kind of spectrum where she can hear whale people? Possibly. Probably not. Possibly. Their connection is instant, electric. Walker's touch gives Annie visions of the ocean's hidden world, a life she's never known but feels inexplicably drawn to. Atlantis? What's the ocean's hidden world? Is it where Jar Jar Binks is from? Yet even as she is pulled towards him, Evan, the steadfast love who has always been there, remains on dry land, offering the stability she may have to leave behind. Evan. Go in the ocean. Annie is torn between Evan's grounding presence and Walker's magnetic secrets, but then Walker vanishes, along with the answers she needs about who she really is. I think you are the Princess of Atlantis. I think that's what this is. And she can hear his whale hum. And that's the neurodivergent spectrum that she is on, actually. She's on the Atlantean princess neurodivergent spectrum who can hear whale man humming. 6 years later, Annie has left the sea and buried the past until Walker's otherworldly sound returns, pulling her back toward the ocean and the life she abandoned. The truth under the water is more ancient than she could have ever known, and Annie must confront a choice that will test her heart and determine her future. Is this a book about Atlantis? Hello? Beautiful, breathtaking, indescribable, unlike anything I've ever read before. Those are big words, Brianna. Those are real big words. What are you talking about? Is it Atlantis? Are we mermaids? Are we Atlanteans? What's happening? Okay, well, I'm gonna read that book immediately, especially if it's Atlantis. Hi, my memory card ran out of space, so hopefully whatever the I was saying last landed. Next up on August 11th is The Hill in the Dark Grove by Liam Higginson. Vibes are already reminded me a little bit of The Borrowed Hills. I forgot the author's name. The Borrowed Hills? Hill? This one. Carwyn and Ryan, the last in a long family line of sheep farmers, are living out a brutal year in their hillside farm deep in the mountains of Eryri, North Wales. Eryri? How do I? There's so many things I don't know how to pronounce this video. Eryri. Okay, Eryri. Their farm deep in the mountains of Eryri, North Wales. When Carwyn stumbles across a stone circle and some sort of burial mound in one of the fields on their land, he quickly develops an obsession. His wife, Ryan, meanwhile, is confronted with the growing realization that the man with whom she shares her life and home is slowly becoming a frightening stranger. As the harsh mountain winter closes in, Ryan finds herself alone with her increasingly peculiar husband, the mountains, and the looming megalithic stones. Yeah, a gorgeous story embedded in Welsh folklore. Let's go. There's gonna be some kind of demon Welsh mountain circle. What is it? Not a crop circle. Stone circle. Aliens? Demons? Something. There's something going on. This is a horror book. There are 2 different covers for this one. I like this so much better. Here's the alternative. I don't want that one. I want the sheep. Also on August 11th, we have A Plagued Sea by Kimbo Young. And this one caught my attention because there's a blurb from Bong Joon-ho himself on here. If there's any movie of his you've seen, it's probably Parasite, but Snowpiercer is one of my favorite movies ever. And that is also by Mr. Bong Joon-ho. So if he is telling me to read something, I'm gonna read it. This is a Lovecraftian nightmare of infection, transformation, and abomination. While waiting for a train to Haewon, an isolated Korean seaside village, bodyguard Moo Young gets a disaster alert on her phone. There's a massive earthquake on the eastern coast. Despite the danger, Moo Young boards the train with her niece. She'd rather face the earthquake than leave the girl in her mother's care. That choice haunts her for the rest of her life. 3 years later, Haewon Village is home to horrors. Not horse. Home to horrors. The earthquake unleashed an ancient plague that transforms its victims into fishy monsters, and the government's lockdown has cut off any hope for help. Moo Young's niece is dead, and all that's left for her is to hunt villagers who break isolation. When an officious bureaucrat from Seoul arrives in the village, he stirs up even deeper trouble. Will Moo Young survive? Does she even deserve to? An ancient plague that transforms its victims into fishy monsters. That's crazy. I thought that this was going to wind up being a zombie. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe this version of zombies is fish zombies. That's crazy. Oh my god, it's also a novella. Be Still My Beating Heart. Oh my god. Okay, this is the cover I was looking at, but this is the alternative cover. I don't like it, but I understand the vibes more now, I guess, but I prefer this cover. So this is the one I'll be looking for. There are a lot of good-looking books that are coming out on August 11th because we also have Reliquary by Hannah Witten. This again is horror. It says gothic fantasy thriller under it also, but mostly horror. When Claire's fiance mysteriously dies of an unknown neurological illness, seemingly destroying her chances at the belonging she sought, she is prepared to sink back into the lonely life she lived before. Orphaned by a freak boating accident in her childhood, she never expected to find connection like she did with Elias, even if sometimes that connection seemed more like something he felt obligated to than something he wanted. Ugh, yikes. Their relationship wasn't perfect. His coldness, his secrets, his strange aversion to the ocean, but what relationship is? I love all the weird ocean-based horror that we're getting lately. Good lord. When Elias's family reaches out, his incredibly wealthy family from whom he was estranged, red flag, and invites Claire to a wake at their family home on their private island, green flag, Claire is given the chance to have the connection again, to belong to something, just like she's always wanted, just like Elias knew she was desperate to have, even if that family is a little strange, even if their home home, built partially into the sea, stirs up memories of the accident that killed her parents and sister. Even if Ash, Elias's older brother, seems insistent on Claire leaving as soon as possible. Claire can't bring herself to be lonely again, and as the strange circumstances of Elias's familial connection with the sea becomes more and more apparent, her window for escape is rapidly closing. Does she even want to? I'm choosing to believe that every book that we talk about that's related to the sea is actually a book about Atlantis. So I think that the family, they're Atlanteans. That's what my guess is, actually. I think that they're Atlanteans and he estranged himself from them because he didn't want to do that anymore. He just wanted to be a person, which is the wrong choice. If you have a choice to be an Atlantean, always be an Atlantean. The last book that's coming out on August 11th has a beautiful cover. A lot of beautiful covers coming out right now. Look at that creepy ass horse face with the what's in there? What's in the eyeball? Oh, a horse skull inside the eyeball of the horse face. That's nice. This is Stay Buried by Jennifer McMahon. 1919, Frankie Oh, didn't I say at the beginning of this video that I wasn't going to be reading the entire synopsis of all these books? I forgot that I was not supposed to do that. Anyway, 1919, Frankie O'Massey has always been the black sheep of isolated Boone's Ferry? That's a road somewhere in the vicinity of a place near where I live. Boone's Ferry, Vermont. That's not where I live. I am not in Vermont. Her uncle, Dr. Thomas Endicott, has been training her in the science of medicine, something the townspeople are wary of. Oh my god. People not believing medicine, you would think it was 2026. When a mysterious illness strikes the town and the community suspects supernatural forces, the two desperately search for a logical explanation. Patient Zero seems to be the town's knackerman, a recluse who collects dead and dying farm animals to make use of their parts? 2016. Siblings Ashley and Malcolm lost their mother 2 years ago. When their grandmother dies, they inherit a property in Boone's Ferry, a place they've heard of but their grandmother has always refused to talk about, and embark on a trip to their ancestral home. The idyllic town is full of autumnal decor, picturesque farmland, and small town charm. But some of the townspeople aren't very welcoming and they have some unsettling traditions like leaving offerings to a vengeful spirit 4 times a year. I just want to get the book so I can stare at the cover, honestly. I am not a horse girl myself, but I am horse girl adjacent. I know a lot of horse girls. I respect the hell out of horses. They've just broken so many of my bones that I don't think I can properly be a horse girl. I've broken 7 bones thanks to horses, and so I love them from a respectful distance, and that distance is usually, well, I was gonna say usually away from them, but that's not true. I touch horses. Whoa, And now we have circled back around to And the Sea Gave Up the Dead. This is by William Friend, and it's also, it's coming out August 18th. Morwenna knows she needs to visit Bethan. Her aunt is wasting away in the family's crumbling chateau by the French seaside, Atlantis, where she's lived alone since the mysterious disappearance of her husband. The locals claim Bethan is responsible, though Morwenna knows her aunt is simply declining and in desperate need of company. Grief lives in that house, and Morwenna has avoided it for years, until a disturbing phone call from Barbara finally pushes her to act. Who the f is Barbara? We're not told who Barbara is. So she packs up her children and new partner to stay for a week. But the chateau changes people. Old magic has seeped into the ground. The village remembers what happened at the grand old house centuries ago. They remember who died and what came back. Soon, this place will leave its mark on Morwenna's family, and she cannot escape the feeling that, unless she learns the truth about what happened to her uncle, something ancient and evil will rise and a dark history will repeat itself at the chateau. Sure. Yeah. I don't know who Barbara is, but I guess we'll figure it out. I think I need to start not telling you full synopses, because I have in fact been filming for 4,000 years. This is The Halls of the Dead by S.M. Hollow. I won't tell you the full synopses, but I read it already and it seems like it has to do with grimoires, undead saint lavender marriage husbands, witches, lesbians, resurrecting lesbian witches like Jesus, resurrected lesbian witches becoming zombies. Those are the keywords, the buzzwords for you to activate on. If any of those things sound interesting to you, this is the book that we want to read. On August 25th, we have Blood Rising by Marcus Redmond. I don't know a whole lot about what this is about, but it says it's a terrifying blend of supernatural horror and alternate history for fans of Ryan Coogler's Sinners and readers of Victor LaValle, Tananarive Due, and Stephen Graham Jones. There's not much on this Goodreads page yet. It just says, a vengeful vampire tribe formed of formerly enslaved Africans wages war across the southern colonies in the ultimate battle of blood and betrayal. betrayal. And that sounds very Sinners-like to me. Sinners was my favorite movie of all of 2025. I was obsessed with, I still am obsessed with it. So anything that says it's like Sinners or for fans of Sinners, I'm in immediately. We also have The Burn Line by Jonathan Sims. We have a lot of horror going on this summer. That's the hottest summer on record in London. One fateful morning, 5 travelers on an unlucky tube carriage find themselves bound together as witnesses to a single horrific event, an event they can't quite seem to remember. They make an unlikely team, but now they must come together to confront what they have seen and stop it in its tracks before it kills them all. There's something lurking in the stifling darkness and labyrinthine tunnels that run below London. Something old, something vicious, and something very, very hungry. For fans of Stephen King, Jordan Peele, and Black Mirror. Yeah, let's f***ing go. Absolutely. The final book I have for August is called The Devil Knows Her Name by C.N. Vare. In the UK, it will be called Fawn, and it'll have this cover. But The Devil Knows Her Name is the one that's in the US, and it's the one that I have also received as an ARC. In the isolated Appalachian... I f***ing love an Appalachian story, man. In the isolated Appalachian town of Burrsville, Tess Wynn lives in precious quiet. Having been left for dead a century earlier, Tess made a deal with the devil to stay in the only home she's known. Tending to her wildlife sanctuary, let's f***ing go, she keeps the land and its people safe, pulling on spidering threads of ancient magic, trying to preserve the balance of nature against the encroaching ravages of human influence. But every autumn, the devil returns, offering Tess more power in exchange for a foothold into the human world, and every autumn Tess refuses. As Tess prepares her wildlife sanctuary for the winter, an unexpected addition to Burrsville catches the locals' attention. Freshly arrived Zeke Abdi, the town's new pastor, begins to sinisterly mold the townspeople to his will. With everyone slowly turning on Tess, Pastor Zeke is determined to stake his claim on the very land where Tess keeps her sanctuary. Cornered, a desperate Tess pushes her magic to the darkest edges. All the while, the devil bides his time, waiting for Tess to decide if she will be prey or predator. Wildlife sanctuary horror. Wildlife sanctuary Faustian deal with the devil horror with an evil pastor. Hi, I needed to make a 7-Eleven snack run because I felt like I was dying and I was so hungry and I needed Sun Chips while I was waiting for the mac and cheese. It's a big cheese day today, but we're back and we're doing the September books. We are 2/3 of the way through this video. On September 1st, we have a book called As the Snow Gathers by Mere Joyce. Again, a really good font choice. Dominic was born in Applin Shade, a remote Canadian town built on the bones of another that vanished without a trace. Bookish and quiet, he never asked to lead his family, but after a carriage crash kills his father and leaves his sister forever changed, he has no choice. The only person who truly sees him is Lex, a logger in the camp near town, and the love Dominic must keep secret. The gay love Dominic must keep secret. Together they dream of escaping Applin Shade, a place where isolation breeds judgment and every kindness hides a cost. But the forest is no refuge. The Fantur dwell there, shadowed beings who come out at night to drain the dead of their blood and return them for burial by dawn. They've never touched the living until now. As winter descends and the Fanturs strike back against the logging camp, Dominic and Lex must fight for their lives, their love, and a way out of the woods' tightening grasp, because the forest doesn't forgive and it never forgets. Yes. I'm getting teeny tiny vibes of the Red Winter, teeny tiny vibes of the Fisherman, but only in the good way. Also on holy shit, September 1st is stacked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 7 books on here all coming out on September 1st. That's crazy. Next up is Blacktail by Scott Hawkins, who is the man who wrote The Library at Mount Char, which I haven't read, but I hopefully will be soon. Blacktail is a wolf who is faithful to his forest god. But in these times, faith is not enough. His world is besieged by men. Soon his territory will be overrun, and then there will be nowhere left to go. When his mate, a house dog, is killed, oh, no. Blacktail rebels. He invades the house of her owners seeking vengeance. Blacktail's fury catches the notice of an ancient and terrible feline witch who makes an offer? A cat witch? What if Blacktail could end the human race responsible for the death of his family and for the destruction of the natural world altogether? To do so, Blacktail must find and wake the forest god. Only he might stand a chance against the plague of men. Blacktail knows that his north woods are dwindling to nothing. He sees no other choice. As Blacktail journeys farther from his wild home and deeper into the world of man, he encounters strangers, animal, mortal, and otherworldly, who, for their own reasons, want to help Blacktail rid the world of humans. Along the way, it becomes clear that he is more than just a wolf. The forest god is sleeping, yes, but what will be the price of waking him? Yeah, pretty much an all-animal cast seeking a forest god to help them wipe humans off the face of the earth? Absolutely. I will help you in your quest. Also on September 1st, an easy one, The Knave and the Moon. I loved The Night and the Moth very much. The Knave and the Moon is the follow-up. I have nothing to tell you about it, except for the fact that I'm excited and hopefully you are too. Another one I will tell you probably very little about is Our Strange Duet by Aaron A. Craig. I will say that this is intriguing and a little concerning for me. Phantom of the Opera, what this book is based off of, Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite things of all time. I have a Phantom of the Opera tattoo. It's not the mask, don't worry. It's like more secretive than that. But Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite things of all time. I've never read the book, and I've definitely never read a retelling of it. And this is Aaron A. Craig's retelling of Phantom of the Opera. I'm not going to give you the synopsis for Phantom of the Opera. If you don't know what it is, at the very least, watch the movie. I don't care what people say about the movie versus the stage play. I don't give a fuck. I love the movie. So if you would like to read the Phantom of the Opera retelling with me when it comes out in September, let your girl know, because I am interested. Oh, fucking hell. I do have to go faster. This is going to be such a long video. Why do I do this every time? Next we have Understory by Chloe Benjamin. Another beautiful cover. At the end of the world, biologist Laurel Salter is hiding from everything she's ever known. For 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, she works as a dishwasher at McMurdo Station, an isolated research base in Antarctica. She tells no one that before she arrived, she was a renowned young scientist with a promising career, a husband, and a family. But even in this remote outpost, Laurel can't outrun her past. When a strange light appears across the ice and draws a group of physicists to McMurdo, her former husband Eli won't be far behind. Laurel is captivated by the ark, its surreal glow, the way it seems almost alive. And though Eli is reluctant to test her wildest theory, Laurel is convinced that the ark leads down a rabbit hole and into a world they can barely imagine. Does she mean that physically? Does she mean a physical world they can barely imagine? Can she persuade him to risk everything to fix the burden that hangs between them, to turn back the clock and live their story a second time? I'm feeling some kind of secret time fuckery vibes. Or if not time fuckery, at the very least, space fuckery. And I don't mean outer space fuckery. I mean the space, your position on the planet, space fuckery. On September 8th, we have The Pirate Queen by Ariel Lawon. The full synopsis is too long for me to read to you, but basically there's this woman in 16th century Ireland. She wants to be a pirate, but she's the daughter of a noble family, but she feels like she belongs to the sea. Her dad marries her off to this dude that she doesn't like, but she goes, yeah, okay, fine. She goes and does it. She raises a family, and then that guy dies. Not a spoiler, it's in the synopsis. That guy dies, and then she gets to go back to her childhood home on the sea and become a pirate for real and be happy for real. And this whole thing is about Grace O'Malley, who was a real life female pirate, an infamous Irish sea captain and folk heroine who risked everything to protect her people. She was a real person in 16th century Ireland. So it's historical fiction, but like only kind of. On September 15th, we have Unearthed, New Horror of Ancient Ruins, edited by Dan Coxon and Philip Fracassi. This is a short story collection exploring ancient sites, uncovering forgotten histories, and prizing open the tombs of the past. These stories explore the caverns and the catacombs, the ruined temples and the monoliths, and drag an ancient evil back into the light. Featuring stories by Tananarive Due, Christopher Golden, Josh Mallerman, Eric LaRocca, Hildur Knudstottir, A.G. Slatter, Primi Muhammad, Hache Pueo. There's so many good authors that have short stories in this one. I will be getting it post-haste. Also, Ancient Ruins, something is going to be set in the jungle. I know something will be set in the jungle, and I cannot resist anything that is set in the f***ing jungle. On September 22nd, we have Little Kin by Katja de Becerra, or Becerra. There's only one line on this Goodreads page right now, and it's the story of a woman's quest for family and belonging, which turns into a nightmarish tale of survival set on a subarctic island, overrun by impossible beings and torn apart by a blood-soaked covenant. Whatever this is, it's giving me The Thing vibes, and The Thing is my favorite horror movie of all time, so anything that might give me little pieces of that, I'm in. Also on September 22nd, we have Our Cut of Salt by Dina Helm. There's something haunting Nuad's childhood home in Haifa. Cats avoid its perimeter, strange noises come from within, and residents have mysteriously vanished without a trace. Although Nuad has not returned to her home since the Nakba in 1948, she has always held a place for the house in her heart, and in return the house did the same for her. After Nuad passes away, her granddaughter Marina is determined to visit her grandmother grandmother's home after a lifetime of being kept in the dark about her culture and family history. Marina's mother, Haifa, named for the city that was lost to their family, reluctantly agrees to her trip, though she knows firsthand that some secrets are better left buried. But the house is no longer a home, it's a painful, festering wound that infects everything it touches. The more Marina digs into her family's past, the sicker she becomes. Despite Nuad's ghostly warnings, Haifa rushes to help her daughter. In this lyrical debut, 3 generations of Palestinian women must put the haunting of their ancestral home to rest before the secrets of the past drown them all. Our Cut of Salt is a powerful and intimate look at what it means to make a home, to lose it, and to return, only to find it irrevocably changed. I have 3 more that I want to talk to you about, and they're all coming out on September 29th. The first one is called Beyond the Graves Waits Mist and Sea by Kathleen Kaufman, another mouthful of a title. 20 nautical miles off the coast of Boston lies Belle Island, shrouded in fog, mystery, and legend. Historically a refuge for women fleeing the hysteria of the Salem witch trials in the 1600s, and a way station on the Underground Railroad for runaway slaves in the 1800s, the island is isolated and rumored to be haunted by spirits and ... other things. It is to Belle Island that microbial biologist Harper White Person, ventures in search of evidence of a new species of octopus, thalassa, possibly lurking beneath the swirling water's surface. Along with her equipment and her luggage, Harper carries with her the burden of past trauma and vivid recurring dreams. Same. Swept up in unexplained phenomena ranging from increased seismic activity and a boat capsizing rogue wave to encounters with island creatures that defy explanation, Harper looks to the island's venerated if mysterious mayor for answers. Lady Loriana Bell comes from a single matriarchal line that has ruled the island for 400 years and seems to have been expecting Harper's arrival. It is within the walls of Bell Manor, its gothic grandeur matched only by the intensity of Harper's déjà vu, that she discovers the 1690 journal of a young woman accused of witchcraft. As a tsunami threatens the island, Harper finds herself on the verge of a revelation that will ultimately unlock the mystery of her haunted dreams and disclose her true purpose on Bell Island. Yes, absolutely. Everything that I want to read about. We have a biologist, we have a misty haunted island, we have an octopus. Everything that I want. Tsunamis. I mean, I don't want tsunamis, but I want to read about tsunamis. Penultimately, we have Mestra, a short story by Madeline Miller. I will read anything that Madeline Miller writes, even books like this that are only about 50 pages long. She does love writing little short stories in between her full-length novels. I still haven't read A Song of Achilles because I'm still scared of how much I'm going to love that book. But Mestra is about Mestra, daughter of the king of Thessaly, who's granted a unique gift by Poseidon, the ability to transform into any being she can imagine. Her father, on the other hand, is cursed. As punishment for disrespecting the goddess Demeter, he is in possession of an unnatural, insatiable hunger. Devoted Mestra suggests using her new gift to help her father. But if his hunger is bottomless, how much will he take from her? Soon she must decide, will she keep helping her father survive or finally break free? And finally, we have Night Jars by Michael Wehunt. This is, again, a horror book, and it says Memento meets Dracula? One rainy night on a first date, Luke Oshle's new crush never comes back from the restroom, but she leaves an old photograph under her napkin. Luke as a child, a dead body in the shadows of his bedroom, and a terrifying masked man. He has no recollection of this event. Then more photos disrupt his life. Luke posing with murder victims covered in blood, and he falls back into the deep paranoia and repressed memories he's tried to leave behind. He hasn't escaped the hidden legacy of his father, who killed his victims by exsanguination before his own death. But now there's a new string of serial killings, and the evidence all points to Luke. As his journey to uncover the truth unfolds in the North Georgia Appalachians, of course, thank you, a threat arises that will risk everything he holds close, including his ex-wife and their young daughter. Now Luke must chase his father's darkness through a centuries-old secret and learn what monsters truly are, and decide if he's one of them. Memento meets Dracula? Like, how am I supposed to say no to a book that's Memento meets Dracula? Please. And that, blessedly, is it. I don't even know how many books I just talked about. There are, in fact, more that I skipped over. I will put a screenshot of a few more books that I would want to tell you about. I'll put it right here. I'm just going to talk for a second so that you can screenshot this that I have made for you. A few more books that I would consider looking into if I were you. And that is it. That means I can finally go make my mac and cheese. And it's only 11:32 p.m. So I get to have midnight mac and cheese. That's kind of fun, right? I hope that this video has been in service to you. I hope you have found some some books that sound interesting to you. If you've decided to look into any of these books, or if you've decided to pre-order them, or if you've decided to talk to your local library about these books, anything, if any of these books interest you, let me know. I want to read everything that I just read out, but obviously I'm slow. I'm not gonna be reading all of these. Let me know which ones I definitely should read though, and that's it. I'm just procrastinating because I know that now I have to go make mac and cheese and then start to edit this video at midnight. That's it. If you can hear me, if you can read the subtitles, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for existing in a space with me. Every time you see me, you're making the conscious decision to exist in a space with me, and that's super fucking cool. So I am happy to have you here. I'm happy that you're having me here. I hope you're having a great summer so far. I hope it's not too fucking burning hot where you are. It was like 95 degrees at my house this past weekend. Too hot. Anyway, still procrastinating. I love you. Goodbye. Also on July 7th is a novella. If you remember? Fuck me. Lives in a village. Hello. So when Elizane receives. Stop. There's been a homecoming disguised as a Also, in case I haven't said this on here, lost and walking through the savannah is exactly the way I would want to die if I had a no, you know what? That's for the bloopers. General public should not hear that one. I don't have a death plan. That would be weird. Like, not a death plan. I'm not like if I, okay, listen, this is only for the end of the video now. Most people click away from this. If you're listening, you can know. If I ever come down with a terminal illness, if I get some kind of illness that's going to kill me, I want to walk out into the bush and let the lions eat me. That's the plan. Not the plan, because like hopefully that, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's. I'm gonna stop talking. That is my birth control alarm, and that should tell you that it's 10 p.m. But even in this remote outpost, Laurel can't growing up on a sailbone in the sailbone? What in the f is a sailbone?